So my name is Tina Roth-Eisenberg. I'm a Swiss designer in New York. I run a design studio and a blog called Swissmiss out of Dumbo, Brooklyn. And I would like to introduce you to my slightly eccentric and crazy aunt, Hugi. She has been the catalyst of my inspiration growing up in Switzerland. And for those of you that don't know, growing up in Switzerland means everything is very rigid, organized. You are on time, like everything is very planned out, and you don't break the mold. Well, my aunt, as you can see, is the complete opposite, and she is the person that doesn't care, even though she's Swiss, she does not care what people think of her, and she does what inspires her and what makes her happy. And I believe that we all need a crazy Aunt Hugi in our life. So growing up in Switzerland, looking out of my window, this is what I would see. I grew up on the countryside, small town, cows in front of my door. Sitting at my breakfast table, I would see this. Growing up in Switzerland means that you're surrounded by clean, beautiful, minimal design, 24/7. Graphic design has such a huge history in Switzerland that you can't help but being shaped by the aesthetic of Swiss design growing up. For example, last summer we were in Switzerland with my daughter and my husband, and we're driving down the countryside, and my husband is driving, and I scream, "Stop! Stop the car!" And he's like, "What? And I jump out and I start taking pictures of a pile of garbage bags, and I come back in, and granted my husband is not a designer, he goes, "What's this all about?" I said, "Well, do you see Helvetica on garbage bags? The Swiss are crazy." So the Swiss take their typography seriously. Or if you want to show how much a country or a nation values design and art, well, Switzerland puts it on their money. For example, there's Le Corbusier, the architect, there's Alberto Giacometti, and there's like Sophie Teuber-Arp. I think this pretty much sums it up, how much design and art is being valued in Switzerland. So in '99, I want to give you a little history of my path from coming from Switzerland to New York and how my blog became part of my business model. In '99, I came to New York with a dream of doing a 3-month internship, like the classical story of people coming to New York, and guess what? 10 years later, I'm still here, and I'm not leaving. I was very lucky to work in a lot of exciting design studios, and one of them was ThinkMap, formerly known as Plum Design, where I got to do everything visual thesaurus. The branding, I mean everything that left the office, like branding, packaging, the actual UI for the app. And this was, hands down, the most exciting project I've ever worked on. So in 2006, I decided it's time to start my own studio. And I was very lucky to have MoMA as my very first client, and I got to redesign their internet. During this time where I was working in all these design studios, I was like the typical designer in the morning, coming in with my cup of coffee, with my bagel, sitting down and having a peek at the internet and seeing what's new, what's happening. And being Swiss, I was very organized, and I would always save all these daily finds in bookmarks folders. Well, I'm a typical designer, I'm a very visual person. I cannot remember a name for the life of me, but I would remember the product or the site if I see it. So after several struggles of finding something again that I found before in my bookmarks folders, I realized it's time that I create a visual archive for myself. And that's when I started Swissmiss in May of 2005 as a personal visual archive, sort of my own Wikipedia of things I found that inspired me and that I want to reference again. So I went from the bookmarks to something that looked somewhat like this. Of course, this is the second iteration of my site. So this Swissmiss really is my visual archive. I realized after a few months that I checked my stats and I realized, oh wow, it's not just my personal visual archive, it's becoming like, I'm having people coming to my site, and it became more and more over the months. And I realized, wow, people like what I find. And I was very lucky that about 2 years into it, I was asked to be part of the DEC network, ad network, which pays based on how much traffic you have. And that really allowed me to start spending more time on my blog by making some money of it. So for those of you that are not familiar with Swissmiss, my blog, I basically try to, it's a very finely curated space. I basically post things that inspire me, that make me look, that make me smile, or things that make me think. So it's a very broad subject. And I basically aspire to inspire, entertain, and educate. I want to give you a few examples of things I post about. I like stuff with typography on it, a lot of resources for designers, art stuff, gadgets, illustrators, articles that make me think. Of course, there's a lot of Switzerland-related posts. I'm a mother of 2, so there's the kid stuff in there, furniture, and I use it every now and then to crowdsource if I have a question. This was actually quite humorous. My husband and I have a 7-week-old baby, and my husband and I, about 2 months ago, were stuck on the name finding. So I looked at my husband and said, why don't we just crowdsource it and ask my readers? So I put it up, the post, and to be honest, right after I put it up, I got a little self-conscious and thought, man, this is crazy. What are people going to think? But my readers loved it, and the last time I checked, I think we had over 320 comments. Multiply that by approximately average 4 names each. We had a lot of ideas to choose from. I want to just run down a few questions I get a lot regarding my blog. For example, the big one is, where do you find all your good stuff? I have 4 sources. One is submissions. I'm really lucky. I get about 40 to 60 submissions a day. And I love nothing more than when I get a subject line that says, I walked to work this morning, I saw this, and this made me think of you. My readers just are the best source of ideas for posts. Then referring sites, I check my stats, and what I do is I go to the very bottom to the small sites that link to me, because every day there's new cool blogs popping up. There's so many people with a good eye, and I try to support the small ones with, like, if I find something that they find, I pick it up, I say via on the bottom, then they get a huge boost of traffic, which gets them so excited that then they start submitting. So it's like this machine, self-feeding machine. I of course have my about 300 bookmarks a day that I check. I cannot stand RSS readers. So I come in the morning, I have about 4 folders, bookmarks folders on the top of my browser. I'm very old school. I come in and I say open in tabs. I actually learned this from Michael Surtees, who's somewhere here in the audience. And it basically breaks down the internet in our studio. But my studio mates know that by now. And then Twitter has become a huge source for posts. And then everybody always wants to know, how many readers do you have? So just to quickly give you a glance, when I started in 2005, I had about 30,000 unique readers. In 2007, it was over 2 million. In 2006, it was almost 4 million. And last year, I had the staggering number of over 6 million unique readers. And next year, I'm going to blow it up. Oh, actually, this year. Then this is the big magic question. How much time do you spend blogging? I tried to make a little graphic. Red is the time I blog. So I usually come into the studio in the morning and I have this little burst of blogging. And then I realized, oh my God, I have client deadlines. And I start working, and then I get the itch again, and I have little blogging in between moments. And then usually around 3 or 4, I have a major withdrawal, and I blog again, and then usually at night. But then reality kicks in certain days, and I have a really, really tight deadline with a client, and I blog early in the morning and late at night. And then, to be honest, my dream is that I can spend more time blogging, and then the client work is actually where I am my own client. So this is kind of my future model that I'm aspiring to. And I'm actually starting to be my own client. I launched a to-do app. I tried all these to-do apps out there, and I realized they didn't do it for me. They were too complex, they had too many functionalities. So I started sketching out what works for me, and it's basically this. It's a week in front of you where you can check things off. I'm all about the gratification of checking things off. So as I designed this, and my studio mate Cameron, Effective Kin, he built it for me. And we, just for kicks, made a little fun site. We put it up on December 10th. At 9 in the morning, I made a post about it on Swissmiss. And this, for the first time, I got to experience the Swissmiss Effect, because 2 hours later, we were on Fast Company, and they called us the web's most beautiful to-do list. Granted, we just launched. And then during Fireball, and it was this huge avalanche, and it's been only like 3.5 months, and we at this point have 80,000 users. And this is like, nobody's ever seen this. If any of you use this today, this is going to be the iPhone app, which we're going to launch in probably about 3 to 4 weeks. So this is my first step into having my own product and being my own client. So then what's the secret that Swissmiss is more successful than other blogs? I don't know, but just my personal opinion is that I am trying to be, like in this sea of blogs that is out there, I'm trying to be extremely personal, approachable and personal to a certain extent. Swissmiss is one person, is one eye, one voice, and I think that makes a huge difference because people really want to connect with the person behind the blog. I feel every time a blog got to a certain level and they start bringing editors in, I think it's being watered down. And I will definitely refrain of bringing other people in because I realize that people want to know that the person behind this blog is me. And one thing I really aspire to with my blog, and this is really important to me, is to help people that have ideas. I love it when people come up with an idea and they just go for it. And I think the internet has changed entrepreneurship because everybody can start a business with really low budget. And for example, I got these letter trays sent to me, and there you can make ice cubes or baked goods, and I posted about them. I didn't realize these were prototypes. 2 days later I got an email from the guy who made it and said, "You changed my life. Urban Outfitter picked me up." You can only imagine how many they ordered. And now he has a whole SKU of products. And with my blog, I'm basically connecting people to a certain extent, but I don't just want to do it virtually. I want to go beyond that, and I started an office space, a collaborative workspace in Dumbo, where on a busy day it looks like this. And it just so happened organically that we're basically like a little mini agency. We have developers, copywriters, type designers, and I hope to see more people coming up with the concept like this because stick really talented people into one room and good stuff will come of it. The To-Do app just happened because we were talking about it over lunch. And then, again, not just connecting people virtually, I started about a year and a half ago, I started a networking breakfast lecture event called Creative Mornings, which has really taken off now, and we usually fill up within minutes of announcing the event. And basically the concept is, it's a 10-minute lecture, it's always in a different location, there's free breakfast, it's a free talk, it's a free event, and we had, for example, just recently we had Michael Beirut speak, we had Zach Klein of Vimeo, we had an event at Google, and I took it to Switzerland last year at the Freitag factory. So, to a certain extent, I'm trying to be kind of a digital Antugi. And if I can inspire just a tenth of what she inspired me growing up, it's been all worth it. All right. Thank you.